More plastic trash than fish in our oceans by 2050. When we first hear such predictions, our initial reaction is shock or disbelief. But then we just accept them and move on with our lives. So did I when I first heard it. I knew that it was my trash that I was causing every day, week, and year, which is filling up the oceans. But since billions of other people are part of the problem too, I thought my waste would just be a drop in the ocean. It's just easier to throw your trash away and stop thinking about it, especially when the resulting problems are not affecting you directly. Some clever scientists might come up with a solution anyway, and until then, the most I could do was abstaining from plastic bags. Or so I thought, because then something happened which made me realize that I don't need to wait for anyone to solve the problem that I am creating. I can, in fact, be part of the solution. The way I did it was by reducing my yearly trash to exactly this amount. Yes, all my trash of over 1 year fits inside this tiny jar of glass, and if the people in the back have a hard time seeing it, that's exactly what I was going for. How did I manage to make this achievement of tackling a huge global problem on a personal scale? And more importantly, what has this experience taught me about achieving my own goals for my personal life and the world? While most people have some problems, projects, and plans they always want to work on but keep postponing, most people have something that takes the top priority on that list. Something so important to yourself that you're willing to change your life for it. And other times you don't need to look for a cause to change your life at all, but it finds you. For me, that turned out to be trash. Not that it ever played a huge role in my life, but I naturally cared about the environment. The only thing that kept me from acting upon it was me feeling unable to do so. I knew that, like anyone else, I was causing a lot of trash each year, about 270 kilograms, as I found out later. And I just assumed that this is the cost we need to pay for living a civilized lifestyle. Once you take a closer look at a problem and try to break it down, you might come up with a solution so simple that you wonder why no one has ever thought of that before. So how did I come up with this ingenious idea that using less plastic will lead to less plastic trash? The truth is that I didn't. I often stay up really late just watching random YouTube videos, including TED Talks, and then I would hear all those impressive stories of scientists, journalists, and entrepreneurs that would leave me thinking that I should really go out there and start changing the world, turn my life around, and start living a healthy lifestyle. But the next day, reality would kick in, and I had no idea where to start with all those big plans. When I watched a TED Talk by Lauren Singer called "Why I Live a Zero Waste Lifestyle," it all changed. She talked about how she manages to fit her trash of 3 years inside a tiny jar of glass, and I was really blown away. I couldn't believe this was actually a possibility, and how come I had never heard of that before? While everyone is out there living their life accepting that you need to pollute the environment with your food packaging and empty shampoo bottles, she made me realize that there's an alternative. So I was realizing that sometimes problems seem so big that you think their solution must just be as tricky. Immediately after having seen the video, I started thinking about all the items that I buy, which are packaged in plastic and other wasteful materials, and how I could possibly replace them. And while I couldn't think of zero waste alternatives for everything right away, I knew that I had to try this lifestyle myself. How could I possibly keep causing trash when I knew that every little bit of it was avoidable according to this TED Talk? So I challenged myself to produce even less trash than the girl in the video, Lauren Singer, and I was going to start with it right the next day. So I got myself this jar and kind of used it as a goal. I wasn't going to cause more trash than this jar is able to hold. This gave me a way to visualize the progress I'm making and show me what I'm going for, where I still have room for improvement, but also serve as a great source of inspiration. now that I had set myself that goal, I still had little knowledge of how to actually achieve it. But the thing is that I knew it was possible, and that's all I needed to know. People often tell me that it must be really hard to go zero waste, and are curious about how I replace everyday items like toothbrushes or dental floss. The good thing is that I didn't need to have all the answers to minor problems right away. On the first days of my transition, I mainly needed to focus on buying food. So I would go into a store with my reusable bags and kind of scan the shelves for zero waste items. And within a few days, I had figured out at which store I can buy which item. Then I would run out of shampoo and had to look for an alternative, which turned out to be solid shampoo bars. After a while, I had to replace my plastic toothbrush, and the alternative was one made out of bamboo, 100% biodegradable. In other cases, I didn't buy an alternative product at all, but chose to make it myself, like laundry detergent. Who knew it would only consist of 3 ingredients, washing soda, water, and castile soap? It is a very satisfying feeling to try out different recipes and see them actually work. Not only are those products cheaper, but you can customize them so they fit your own values and needs. This is why I don't see my lifestyle change as radical as it might sound. I think it's more like a gradual transition or a journey. And on this journey, I learned so much more about myself, my everyday products, and how to make them. Not only did this journey lead me to my goal, but it also opened up so many new perspectives that I would have never expected. But like every journey, mine also had its ups and downs. I sometimes experience those downs in the form of my favorite candy that I can't buy as often because it's packaged in so much plastic, or when I see a nice dress at the store and choose to not buy it. Instead, I spent my money on second-hand clothes that I find while traveling, and I think they're often way more interesting than the local options I have here. On top of that, I sometimes have that awkward moment where I go out with friends for drinks, and by the end, I wouldn't just leave my glass standing there, but I take the little plastic straw with me, which of course earns me a lot of awkward looks. So I get to explain that I will put it in my jar later on, and that opens up a whole new conversation about my zero-waste lifestyle. So there were definitely challenges I needed to overcome when deciding to make this change. The key is that I didn't let those discourage me from achieving my goal. I needed to be persistent in order to later on look at the achievements I was able to make and the experiences I got to make. And on top of that, it's a wonderful feeling to see how much of an impact you can have on your own life if you just put your mind to it. The best experience, however, is getting to share your ideas and knowledge with other people. I inspired my older sister to go zero waste, and other people around me to embrace a cleaner lifestyle as well. Now I get to spend more money on important things like traveling and concerts, and not on stuff that will leave a huge pile of trash, which will be dumped in the ocean. By now, I don't think about all the products I can't buy, but about the hundreds of kilos of trash that I avoid every year. While some people might still call me crazy or weird for living this lifestyle, I like being crazy if that means living according to my own values. It's time to deal with those projects, plans, and problems that you always wanted to work on. Be crazy and challenge yourself every day so you will get to experience growth in willpower, impact, and achievements. And if you could make the switch to reusable bags and bottles in the process, we will all get one step closer to a cleaner future, with more fish than trash in the oceans by 2050.